Hey everyone, this is Nick from the Botch Pit. Today, we'll be discussing the hosts, also known as the Shartha for Werewolf the Forsaken. This is the first in a series of videos dedicated to hosts. Originally, this was all intended to be one broadcast. However, there is too much awesome information on each one of the hosts, and it wouldn't do them justice to make it a singular video. Also note, let us pray my Boston accent doesn't completely butcher these names. In Werewolf the Forsaken, their terminology is unique, and they don't offer pronunciations. The sources used for this broadcast were both Werewolf the Forsaken 1st and 2nd edition core books, as well as their source books, Lodges the Splintered, Night Horrors Shunned by the Moon, Night Horrors Wolfsbane, and Predators for Werewolf the Forsaken. Before we begin, let's generally define what a host, a Shartha, is from a very high level perspective. The hosts are fragments of ancient gods, beings that survived even Father Wolf's rage, which are caught in an eternal effort to forge their progenitors anew from their spiritual shards. In their most primitive and base state, a shard appears as an animal, a spider, rat, or other vermin, often grotesque or mutated in some way. However, once joined together, hosts become indefinitely more difficult to deal with. These antagonists hide, coiled in the carcasses of humanity, and at the same time are terrible abominations of immense size and strength. They befoul the two worlds, twisting the gauntlet, the membrane separating the realm of flesh and realms of spirit to their whim. Just killing a Shartha is rarely enough to truly finish it off, making the hosts among the most dangerous prey that any werewolf can hunt. Legends. Legend holds that in the time of Pangea, Father Wolf hunted down many powerful spirits that violated the physical world without permission. Most of them were caught and either banished to distant prisons beyond the sky or destroyed outright. Some, however, discovered a way to escape Father Wolf in the physical world by scattering their essence into many hosts. But when the gauntlet came crashing down, they became stranded. They forgot much of who and what they were, but the separate pieces of their essence have since evolved into something stronger than what they were. Hosts. The hosts of today are descendants of Father Wolf's ancient rivals. Horrible creatures part vermin and part spirit, which become stronger and smarter as they increase and composite in number. Born of dead gods, the hosts scurry beneath the world's skin and not at its entrails. They are a constant worry, for they affect the very balance between spirit and flesh. The Shartha are capable of moving between the worlds as well. Some are as powerful as the werewolves, yet their goals are totally different. Unlike werewolves, they don't respect or acknowledge territory in any way. The hosts are driven by their instincts. The ends they're programmed to achieve cannot be allowed to come to pass. Left unchecked, the hosts would pull the world into a literal hellscape. Worse, their instincts also flood them with virulent hate for werewolves. If few in number, they creep into the dark and avoid attention, but once they are strong enough, they feel the urge to eliminate their despised hunters. All hosts hunger, urge to consume other Shartha and strengthen themselves. A few cling to grand fever dreams of reuniting all the scattered shards into those godly entities Father Wolf tore apart. However, most focus on the baser needs of immediate survival, preying on their host kin without any greater ambitions than eating them. The instincts driving the hosts are divine programming, the lingering echoes of whatever vast consciousness spawned each brood, and the shards remain slaves to these ancient directives even now. Some obsess over, exploit, or corrupt the gauntlet in some manner, preparing the way for their progenitor to emerge once more. Types of hosts. The Yaratha often clash with two significant breeds of Shartha, the Aslu, spider hosts, and the Bashilu, rat hosts. Other hosts include the Shrizaku, locust hosts, the Halaku, crow hosts, the Razalu, snake hosts, the Kha-Yaawk, leech hosts, the Adarisharu, wolf hosts, the Ushidwerku, fungal hosts, the Uglathu, worm hosts, the Vihoshlu, toad hosts, the Ukusgwalu, lamprey hosts, the Zerdilu, termite hosts, the Hadaglu, wasp hosts. Again, just as a reminder, please don't crucify me for saying one of those wrong. There are no pronunciations anywhere. The joining. This term defines the cannibalistic merger of multiple host shards, or the merger of a host with a human body. In a blasphemous fusion of divine shard and human vitality, hosts infest the bodies of victims to create pretenses which beneath hold innumerable thrashing and squirming creatures. Some bury themselves deep in meat and gore to begin a ghastly synthesis with the vessel they have stolen, forming a hybrid. The hosts are foul things, defiling the fabric of reality itself with their disgusting appetites. They treat humanity as mere chattel to feed upon and to use as fleshy crucibles for their own ascension. In order to hide from the Forsaken, a host can kill a human and take control of the corpse, though the method of control varies. A host is both one creature and many. Each shard of the original spirit tends to reside within a small vermin animal. As the shards gather and reunite, they merge or join. Two shards in the bodies of rats become one, larger and smarter than its two separate entities. A shard embedded in a spider the size of a basketball devours another smaller shard, and it too increases in size and intellect. Eventually, over time, the hosts grow to human size and acquire human-like intelligence. It might even decide to disguise itself as a human, and the only way it can do so is to devour everything within the human besides its skin, and then pour itself into it. A stolen skin doesn't last forever, but it grants the Shartha the ability to move among human society, granting it an additional measure of defense against those who hunt them down. Shartha go through a rough life cycle as they infest a human. At first, just a single shard pilots the body. The host largely retains the attributes and skills of the victim and gains a discorporate dread power, and usually either gnaw gauntlet or gauntlet webs. As the body becomes more infested, it becomes clearer to the close observer that what they're actually looking at is a skin bag filled with aberrations. To join with a human, the shard makes contact with its victim's flesh. As an instant action, it then invades their body. This gradually kills the human, eating through one level of health per turn, after which the shard takes control of the carcass and gains a discorporate dread power. Claimed and non-human animals are spiritually incompatible with shards. Werewolves' regeneration prevents a shard infestation from killing them and taking control of their body. Still, rumors persist of particularly potent shards, strong enough to overcome even a werewolf spirit and resilience. Eventually, with enough consumption of shards, essence, and meat, a host grows into a true abomination. Once joined to a victim, the host must consume further shards in order to further mutate its body into a hybrid. Without further shards, the body instead decays over several weeks or months, and the host must search out a new vessel. The shards merge their own flesh with what's left of the human to become an increasingly monstrous hybrid. The original victims are only an echo now in the hybrid's new attributes and skills. In its animal form, a host possesses an essence pool of 1 to 2. Once joined, this increases to 3 and can raise to 5 through consuming other shards. Full hybrids have an essence pool of 6 or more, reaching up to 50 for vast, bloated old hosts. Every host also has the ability to spend a point of essence to heal a single point of lethal damage over 15 minutes. Hosts regain essence through gluttonous consumption of large amounts of food, particularly human flesh. Werewolf flesh is the finest of meals for a host, granting a point of essence for each point of lethal damage done to the Shartha through a bite attack, even if torn from a corpse. Death. Shartha are notoriously difficult to kill. The early stages of a host's presence can be hard to spot, and hybrids often possess a natural resilience. The discorporate dread power is common to all Shartha, and possess a real challenge for would-be host hunters. Even when slain, a host might not die entirely. Its body breaks down into a flood of dead animals, a scattering swarm of its original form. Yet, one animal among the swarm inevitably remains alive, with a living shard within it. If the werewolves do not quickly locate and kill the shard bearer before it can escape, the host will eventually return and remember who once did it harm. This makes it nigh impossible to permanently destroy a host. Storytelling hosts. Maintaining an aura of mystery around the hosts is essential for their success, both in the sense of the game world and in the sense of a storyteller's needs. Secrecy is one of the greatest weapons the hosts have. Hosts make an excellent counterpart to the familiar madness of the pure or the mystical strangeness of spirits. Even when not actively moving against any pacts they find, their agendas usually bring them into direct contact with werewolves. The hosts are sinister creatures that devote their murderous lives to unknowable causes and should be depicted as such. This mysterious alien fanaticism, the idea of cannibalistic hive minds that can hollow out a human skin and pretend to be a natural being, is the truest horror of the hosts. The fact they can steal people's bodies, eviscerating their soul, and warp the corpses into bestial abominations is practically a bonus. Hosts are great agents of change in a chronicle. They bring home the point that there are other forces at work in the world than those that werewolves typically encounter within the boundaries of their territory. They represent the unknown agents of disruption and the horror of having your life wrecked by forces beyond your control or comprehension. They are creatures of very physical horror. When a stolen human skin rips open and a horde of spiders or rats come spilling out, you're frightened no matter what creature you may be. Conclusion. In the world of darkness, there are few things like the hosts. They are creatures with clear ties to the spirit world, yet they have their origins in the material world. They take possession of human hosts, but slay their host bodies in the process, quite unlike the Ridden. They can walk in human form or take the shape of monstrous beasts, yet they are clearly nothing like the Shartha. They may hollow out and animate human bodies to serve their will, but they are not undead. They are, if legend is true, the remnants of profane demigods that once hunted the land. Entities born out of a blasphemous act of self-preservation. To the inexperienced or uninformed, the host can appear as no more than strange monsters or powerful spirits that have the propensity for creating unusual spirit-ridden. Many of their powers could well belong to other entities. An Aslu might even be mistaken for a vampire by an unsuspecting werewolf. And this is just the beginning of our conversations on hosts. As mentioned earlier in the broadcast, this was all intended to be one video. However, proper justice needs to be administered to these awesome characters. I hope from this overview you can already see the awesome horrific implementations you can achieve with them. This being said, each type of host will get their own video. This has been Nick from the Botch Pit. Thank you.